This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Om Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. Hi, welcome all. This presentation is about like my quest for self-realization and to realize the purpose of life and how to live a joyful life. During this process, I've did several research into science, then religions, and then eventually spirituality, culminating in the self-realization of who I really am. And I just wanted to share this knowledge and joy and bliss with all of you. And I tried to encapsulate all the information that I have in this diagram, which has been the ancient knowledge of Indian yogic system pertaining to chakras. The chakras represent the physical as well as psychosomatic and as well as a spiritual being of a level of a being. So basically Kundalini is referred to as the Shakti, which is present in every being and which lays dormant at the bottom of the spine, and with certain practices it can be awakened, and a person can experience different states of consciousness as the process unfolds. So as you can see, it's been the names of these chakras have been laid out in the ancient yogic system, and I'm using some of them, but also I have put some acronyms to describe that state of being at that level, which will help the modern human beings to evaluate their own personal experiences. So having said that, so as you can see, there are total 7 chakras, and each one has its own significance. Let's start from the base. As you can see, I have tried to assimilate not just yogic system, but also Jewish, Christianity, like in Abrahamic religions like Judaism, Islam, and Christianity and Hinduism all together. The purpose of the whole thing is to unitize all the religions of the world so that the human beings going forward can live in unity and harmony. So these are the new symbols that I just put today: the Om, menorah of Judaism, cross of Jesus Christ, and Allah. So I just completed those things today, and this diagram has been work of past several days, like more than a month. Like every more night when I sleep around 3 a.m. or 4 a.m., something comes up to the mind as it's been downloaded from somewhere. So, and I try to put this in the diagram. I've been doing that. There are several versions of the diagram which I've been sending to everybody as and when I've been developing this, but now it's almost done. So as in Bible prophecy, it's said there is a word called Bereshit. This is the Hebrew scripture, which means in the beginning. So in the beginning, like God created man, right? To play with himself, like God has just wanted to play with himself, and so manifested as a human being, and just to enjoy the whole prakriti, as it's called, the nature, and during this process, the human being goes through different cycles of existence until he elevates himself fully to realize that he is the God himself. So that is the process of Kundalini yoga, and that's why it is called Ashtanga Kundalini yoga, and it's a conscious transcendence of human consciousness. And what does it lead to? Different dimensions within oneself, ultimately merging with the ultimate geometry of dimensions, which is God, which is infinite in nature, zero. It's nothing and everything all together in one. So, and as you can see, I mentioned the word Om is the most important word in Hindu spirituality, meaning it's I'm extended it to say that Om is omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent. That is a power of Om. So yeah, that's why every activity in Hindu spirituality starts with using the word Om. That signifies that the sound also is related to the breathing. So the way it sounds within, elevates the Kundalini naturally. So the word is very powerful. So let's start off with the Muladhara. So the base, the most fundamental chakra is the Muladhara. This is the chakra where the stability, it gives stability to a person. Like, that's the foundation of a being, right? So one has to have a body, like, and it has to be stable to sustain life. So that we have to stabilize the Muladhara of the being. Only then further ascension is possible. So what happens in the actual manifestation process is the GV. GV is nothing but Paramatma. As you can see, there are 7 chakras, but 7th chakra is not only all the way at the top, but it's also at the 0th chakra. But it is not shown in this diagram for a very good reason, because at the lowest being of thing, people think they are born into this world, but they are not aware of where they are born from. So that is actually the 7th chakra, which is also can be represented as a 0th chakra at the base. Like, people can enter into this world, right, unknowingly. Like, so if anybody asks you how you are born, they don't have a good answer unless they are realized. So so that's the Muladhara. So they get into the body. That is encapsulation. Their soul is encapsulated. Life is for encapsulation of the soul. So, and the journey thus begins. So what is the purpose of being born, right? It's like a life. Life is like a dream. So you want to enjoy the body. So that's a sukhi, like meaning happiness. That's the pursuit of happiness. Is a basic, like, need of a being, right? Any being in the nature, if you take, what does it want? It wants to be happy. It wants to be, like, playful and so forth. So as it grows up into the age, like, this is a process where mostly when most subconscious animals and those creatures are at this level, mostly dormant, like, just about eating, sleeping, not much, like, just basic fundamental living. As they progress, like, but the human being is the one who has all the chakras aligned in a, like, vertical, and has a chance to ascend to the highest level. So, but other creatures, they do have things, but they don't have the full length of the chakras. They belong, like, their life is mostly up to the first 2 levels. Like, they are about procreation and just living, like, life as a basic nature. So that's the beauty of being a human being, that we can avail the opportunity of this life to ascend ourselves and realize the true nature of ourselves, being the ultimate reality of God, or like, samadhi, like, the ultimate blissful state. So now let's ascend a little further. So one's next level is called Swadhisthana. This is the I forgot to mention the word earth in the Muladhara, because it's like a solid foundation ground. As we can see, as we move up, it's like more like a fluid, like which can be represented by water. And that's a mobility begins there. And also, the psychological aspects of this level of being is like it's driven by pleasure and, like, in lust, which is the negative aspects of the same things are anger and pain, right? So pain and anger. So you have to be mindful of the positive and negative aspects. So in this diagram, when I am ascending this side, it's only referring to the positive aspects. But till 3.5 levels, you can ascend, and then you can either continue to ascension or take a turn and come back downwards. So that's why the left side of this diagram represents the negative aspects of this chakra, but which I'll get into. But right now I'll be only talking about the positive aspect as the ascension goes on. And a person who takes the body, who wants to enjoy, like, be happy, sukhi, like, a natural process, said at this level they seek pleasure, and sambhog means they want to procreate with the opposite sex. So that is the main purpose of at this level of being, like, and this is called kama. Kama means like desires. It's all kinds of desires, pleasure, lust, those kind of things. So, and I added the modern terms of sports and media. why it is called addiction, I'll explain to you when I'm coming down the path. But for now, we'll just keep ascending. So the next level in this ascension process is Manipura, the energy center. And it's quite natural to use the fire as the representation of this level of center. And it is, and also this chakra has like a bodily manifestation as well. This is at the bottom of the spine. It is at near the genitalia area, the Swadhisthana. This is around the solar plexus, like navel area. And as you can see, this level of ascension leads to a person wanting to, consume more, acquire more, and be proud, of his accomplishments, right? So that's why, if you can control your greed and pride, it's a good level to ascend, keep ascending, because and these are described by Hindu words like this basic being is called tamo, and then once you ascend further, it's called rajo, means, you are passionate, you are getting to be somebody in the world, till here it's just about you and your immediate spouse or immediate family. You're not concerned about anything else, just about your body and your other partner's body. Not even a little bit of entanglement of the mind starts as we further go down here. So that's why life is for entanglement of the mind. So once you get to the level of Manipura, you are starting to engage your mind. So you try to use your intellectual capabilities a little bit to acquire worldly material, right, for consumption. So that is Rajo. So yeah, and then that's why, and you can continue ascension there. And the person who is doing all this is called a bhogi. Bhogi means one who experiences, one who wants to take pleasure in the experiences of the senses, right? That's a bhogi. And as I mentioned, from tamo to rajo, in the process, like I just put the new word, udyogi. Udyogi means not only a person who's an employed person. Ud means upwards. Yogi means yoga. It's also a process of yoga. Yoga means to try to unitize yourself, unionize with the God, right? So Buddhi yogi means the one who's ascending upwards. So, but in our day-to-day world, we are using the term Buddhi means employed. Yes, yeah, he is trying to be involved. Employed means involved in the world to accomplish certain things. So that is a Uddyogi. So he is like ascending yogi. But still, till 3.5 levels, according to me, it is still considered as a bhogi. Is not a true yogi, but is just another being trying to be happy in the pursuit of happiness. So after coming to the next level is Anahata Chakra. This is the 4th level, which is the heart chakra. So after navel, the heart level comes. This is the most, this is a junction point. I consider this as a junction where a being can say, whether he wants to ascend further or be inward. This is all most part of this ascension process in the lower 3.5 is about external world. As I said, it's outer. It's about being your sense focused, you are always using all your senses to see, smell, touch, hear, right, taste. So those are the primary modes of acquiring energy and knowledge and all those things. So at this level in Anahata Chakra, that's why the lower half is mostly determined by the illusion, or the term for that is Maya. And whatever you do under the spell of Maya is called karma. Means your actions are bound by karma. Karma means nothing but it's a form of doing, but under the spell of illusion, they have an impact on how the being ascends, how the light, the udyogi or the being bhogi experiences life, right? So that's the whole point of ascension. Why not? And when as you come here, the ultimate purpose of a bhogi is life is for entertainment of the body. So this is like encapsulation of the soul, entanglement of the mind, entertainment of the body. So you get to this level, you're trying to actualize. So everybody has a dream. We started off with a dream, right? Creature start off with a dream as a human life, and he wants to actualize. Suppose he wants to build a house, we have a great job. That is called, and he completed the purpose. Then that is called actualization. When a person achieves what he set forth to achieve for, that's called actualization. So that completes the bhogi's ascension process. But then it's not like a eternal state. So what happens is, after a certain time, the bhogi has to, due to the gravity of karma or Maya, he has to either continuously keep ascending, putting efforts into being staying at where they are. Like suppose you have a house, built house, it will degrade. That is the nature of prakriti. The word for that is entropy. Entropy means chaos. Chaos means disorder. Things you are trying to set order with your energy, yogic energy, like life force, But the nature of Prakriti is that it breaks it down. Every body builds up, every mind, elevates, right? But eventually every body breaks down, every mind cracks down. So what you're trying to do with your spirit is you're trying to maintain the body and mind. That is called actualization, but it's not it cannot be sustained forever. And at some point, the bhogi either has to come down this way, as he will break down, meaning eventually niruddyogi, what happens to everybody at a certain age, like 65, or due to unforeseen circumstances, they can lose a job, or at certain age they are asked to retire, no need to contribute to the work system, right? At some point, whatever be the thing, niruddyogi means he has to, he's going downwards, not ud means upwards, nirud means down, so he starts to descending, niruddyogi. That's also bhogi. So that's when the consequences of materialism take effect. So now let's talk the downward descent and why I used mostly negative words towards the left side. So as you can see, illusion is very immersive. It tries to attract and immerse all the senses in it, and it's very seductive in nature. So that's why I used the word economy and politics. As you can see, we can take America or any nation in the world for that for that means. So everybody is driven by economy, right? You need to have money, otherwise. But what kind of economy? It's driven by greed and fear, right? That's the norm of the world now. And who decides what kind of economy we need to have is politics. So it's all again based on individual personal desires and so forth. It's not altruistic nature. So what is the consequence of that kind of system? So when somebody is descending, they will go through fear, misery, and envy. Yeah. So as it's apparent, everybody must have gone through at some point some form of fear, some form of envy, some form of misery. These are natural states. There's nothing unnatural about it. But the whole purpose of yoga is to surpass this, natural. Prakriti means nature, natural states of being, right? So if you continue downward descent without controlling that, it could lead further to dukkhi. Dukkhi means the sorrowness takes hold, and you sustain, be in that dukkha for a long period of time. It leads to rogi. Rogi means diseased. The person becomes diseased. He is not happy and unhappy. And then eventually that is called papam. When person is going through dukkham and rogi, we usually call in our Dvaita philosophy punyam and papam. Papam means it's misfortune, right? And why that papam accumulated? Because of his seduction. He got seduced, he got addicted, he went through all this karmas, bad doing, and then that's called papam. So ultimately what happens? He becomes a viragi. Viragi means one who is not is disillusioned, means he doesn't like he's not entangled anymore, but in a bad way. It's not why is it viragi is a dissension? It's not ascetic. It's like giving up. It's not like trying to succeed, but like giving up and saying, oh, it's not a useless effort. So that's why it's called, once the person starts discerning, he starts to do hurtful doings, which leads to hopeless feeling, and then makes him think useless thinking. And what happens? The result, viragi, is nothing but a joyless living. So people continue to live, but they are joyless. And then eventually that leads to death, which is nothing but lifeless being. So why did I put these terms here? So this is for ascension process. So you want to, for this, because of lack of space, I'm just putting these words here. So your only goal is ascension, right? That is the first, what is the purpose of all this diagram? And it's just to give an insight into where you are in your life and what you want to be. What is the basic purpose of a human being is pursuit of happiness, which is up to 3.5 levels. So at least for that, if you want to do that, you need to follow these 4. Out of the Ashtanga yoga, the 4 basic things are for at least actualization. What is the purpose is for happiness. So the purpose is fulfilled by following these 4 guidelines, which is your only goal, ascension. So you need to set a goal for yourself. What is that you want? You need to ask yourself, really, what is that makes you happy? Suppose if it's you are somebody is lost a job or something, their goal would be to get a good job, right? If somebody wants to build a house or something, whatever, build a house or get a kid into a college or I can get the kid married or whatever be the goal. So have crystal clear idea about it. That make a stronghold note of that in your mind, and then what you have to do to achieve that, you have to start aligning yourself. Like in yoga, Patanjali yoga, there are like beautiful, I'm not a full yogic master yet. I experienced all these things, but there is Patanjali yoga, and it has all the ways how to ascend. The beautiful ways to do that, and one of them is called asanas. Yama niyama are the basics, means discipline. That is here, and then the asanas come here. So one can start aligning their body. First, you have to achieve something. You have to be healthy, hale and healthy, right? For that, you need to keep your body in a good position, and that automatically aligns your mind too. So the asanas are prescribed here, and then as in the further ascension, you need awareness, what is right and what is wrong. Like if education, basically, mostly when you say your guide only awareness, you have to be properly educated. Like you are looking for certain kind of job, you have to prepare yourself for that. So those are the some of the things, and then you only get amor. So suppose if you are feeling depressed, right? So you have to tell yourself, I find somebody who really cares for you, like your mother or your friend or your wife or spouse or child. Take support from them in the initial process of ascension, right? You need to look up to those people who are there to unconditionally love you, right? So the other part of the ascension is you become the lover instead of you become getting the love. Amor means love. So, but at least if you are people who are like under the in the descension process, for them this will be a helpful tip for them to like reverse their direction and continue here. So that concludes the first 3.5 chakras, which are governed by like Maya, and then the actions done are called karma. And also I'm trying to incorporate science and technology, what the scientific knowledge that we have, so forth. Quantum mechanics. What is quantum mechanics? It's about particles and things. So that's why I put at this level. This level is heart chakra is driven by air. So it's all inclusive resource, air. So, and it is the most subtlest form of particles, right? What is air made of? Molecules and atoms, which is like atomic, fine structures, like minute structures. That is quantum mechanics, and that is called Dvaita. Quantum mechanics also says uncertainty principle. No state is certain. So meaning happiness and sorrow always fluctuate between good and bad, and right and wrong. So this level, till this level actualization, yeah, you can achieve some things, but they are not forever. You have to realize that they are not forever. So the keyword for continuing ascension is realization. So somewhere in your, everybody has a gut feeling that this is not, everybody knows it, right? You see that everybody passes away. We are not here forever. So at some point, but when you are young and energetic till 30 something, you're so involved, immersed, you do not even consider the point of your own mortality. Like, you ignore it. Like, oh, why will I die, right? You are so involved in the world, you continue living in the way you want. But at certain point, like, or maybe because of your purva janma sukrutas or whatever, or you decided to ascend based on your other lives, you start to question, who am I? Why am I here? And what is the purpose of this? That's when the realization process starts. As you can see, that's what I'm taking you up from the 3.5 level. And the keywords here are intuition. You'll have intuition, like, something is there beyond my egoistic self, right? My small self, like my life. There is something beyond which I want to know. And what drives you to get that? Yama. Yama means the inversion of Maya, means opposite, means one who absolves illusion, disillusion. So Yama means death, also called death. Yama is also means a strong discipline. So there are multiple meanings, but for now I'll use the word Yama as a word to describe your own mortality, which keeps you reminded of your purpose and continuing the ascension process. As you saw, up to this level, you are all about getting. Like, you want love, you want affection, you want to use science and technology, consumption. Bhukti means consumption. The keywords I forgot to mention is bhukti. At this level, bhukti, dhurbhukti means bad consumption. And rakti means actually like a satisfaction and being involved. Virakti means unsatisfaction, dissatisfaction. So, and at this level also, the 3.5 level is called bhakti. Bhakti means devotion. The bhakti starts about yourself, like, and your true love starts. This is affection is about, for affection, you need another person. For love, you just be yourself, and the love is within, and also it goes outwards. But here, affection, you need another person to be affectionate towards, or like passion and all. For this, love and peace start here. So you have the intuition and the inversion. Till now you were immersed in Maya. Now you are starting to inversion, means go inwards. So inner journey begins here with realization that there is more to life than just acquiring material things and just living the life, right? So now all the the reversion of ascension and continuation starts with helpful doing. So you have to know that, so there are two ways, by the way. Once you achieve what you accomplished, you can ascend in this direction or this direction. Basically, Tyagi means one who becomes ascetic, who realizes that material accumulations will be gone one way or the other. So he tries to put that to a good use by sharing with others, like dana, and that gives them peace. Or he's not concerned about the material; it's there, but he wants to know about himself fully, through realization. He starts to become a jagruti, means awakened being. So yogi means questioning, and bhakti. So either both of them are. Some people become ascetics and ascend. Some people become yogis and ascend. So, and what are the main characters of the people who are starting to ascend is they start with helpful doing. They try to do service, like naturally comes to them. If they see somebody in trouble or like somebody is seeking, they try to naturally do that. They themselves are also seeking help, but also they'll, after a few days of bhakti and dharma means sanatana dharma, means principles of life. So they realize, they search for on what basis should I continue my existence, right? They've been living under the spell of maya and under the spell of karma, right? Which is not which is governed by all other aspects like greed, envy, fear, pain, pleasure. But dharma is totally different. It is about righteousness. So they start to look for the principles of dharma, and Hinduism propounded sanatana dharma. There are so many, and Buddhism, every religion, Islam, Christianity, every religion's dharma is also another word for religions. So they have all the different aspects of how to be dharmic, and it's also this mode of life is called sattva. Sattva means goodness. So and once the ascension from this level to this level comes, it's called bhakti level. And as you can see, this is Vishuddha. After Anahata comes the Vishuddha. And the purpose of this level of being is to experience more divinity and more devotion and unity with God, right? You want to experience, since you are still in the not fully ascended, you try to have sangam, means satsangam, meet with other people who are in the ascension process, learn from them. Shravanam means listen to them, do some good work, punyam, yeah. And this is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. The three basic pillars are truth, beauty, and God. Like in Satyam, Shivam is you are looking up to the God. So whoever that may be, like Isha, Allah, it doesn't matter. There's a language descriptions of the same ultimate being. So at this level, your only guru is your Atman. Your true self. Yourself has to guide you. You has to be your guru at this level. And for people who are not isolated, they try to seek outward still, they can find another guru. So many gurus are available in India. The true gurus who are in the body and who are not even in the body, but their teachings are still available through books like Shirdi Sai Baba, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. There's so many, not to. It's difficult to mention all the names, but there's so many great gurus. And current gurus are also there who are doing great work for upliftment of the human beings. So we can pick any guru and follow them thoroughly. What we need is faith and thankful gratitude. So gravity of divinity, what happens when you do this? Gravity of divinity is God will pull you upwards naturally. You sustain in this sphere for some time. Each one, it's not only a circle in the 2 dimension, it is also a sphere. So it's a sphere of being, right? So if you are in the sphere of devotion, automatically you will be pulled up towards the sphere of God, which is gravity of divinity. So gravity towards the lower 3.5 is towards Maya and karma. Once you start the inversion, right, the arrow, you are not going downwards anymore, you have inverted. So you are naturally peaking upwards, and what pulls you up is God, gravity of divinity. So next level is ajna, and at this level I forgot to mention one key important thing. In the elevation starts, life's purpose changes. Life is for elevation of the body. So when you become a bhakti, like usually when gurus, they take you to a mountain place, like there is a scientific background to this. The body changes when you are in higher altitude. So your blood composition, like oxygen intake levels change. So when you're there for a couple of weeks, the way even if you come back after a trip to a guru in a mountain area for 2-3 months, your body remembers the higher altitude and tries to adapt to that kind of being, and your breathing automatically changes. The key important aspect I forgot to mention was the pranayama, the breath. As you mentioned, the anahata is breath layer. So you have to start doing the pranayama, and life is for elevation of the body is saying that naturally you can do it naturally with making focus on your breath, or you can go to an higher altitude place that will make you do the pranayama unknowingly. So that's what one of the things that gurus do. They take you to elevated places to when they are trying to impart their wisdom and knowledge with you. So these are all natural things. Nobody talks about these things, but these happen. Yeah. The next level is ajna. I know I'm going back and forth on the chakras, but I'm not prepared. I'm just going as it comes. It's total spontaneous presentation. So as you can see, at this level, it's your brain, like your ego, everything. There are 4 things to the aspect of mind. This is the mind level, right? So in India, it's mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta. Mano, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, right? So what you want to do at this level is everybody has thoughts, everybody has cognition, but how you handle them determines whether you are going to ascend further or descend and fall back into Maya realms, right? So as you can see, we all are aware of past, present, and future. We have imagination. We can think of tomorrow. We have cognition and past, what happened yesterday. We remember that, and we are aware of the present. As I'm speaking, we are aware of ourselves right here and right now. But what is the purpose of being in this level is you want to give away illusions. So you get a lot of thoughts in your mind. Most are unnecessary, like not relevant to your way of life or living. They're all called imagined dragons. They have no impact on your life whatsoever, but your mind keeps generating those thoughts. So you want to minimize those thoughts. Why do you need to do that? I'll give you an analogy. If you have a computer system, and you want to do some good work, creating some application or something, if you open up too many applications like Windows, and they take a lot of memory, your system crashes and you will not be able to function and accomplish the task. So what do you have to do? You have to close down all the unnecessary applications, keep the system clean, keep it in a sleep mode when it is yoga nidra, when you are not needing to use it. All those basic maintenance stuff, right? So as I'm being a software engineer, I'm talking about those things, but as an analogy, but you get the idea. So if are in yogic terms, how do you? So if you consider your brain as a computer, as it's a it's made of all the 5 elements in the below, but it also manifests mind. So how do you do suddhi? Like you have to do cleansing. Cleansing is suddhi. How do you do that? You can do that with kriya yoga. Kriya yoga is an advanced form of pranayama, in which you are trying to ascend your breath and take it towards the your brain higher level cognitive centers, rather than use the breath energy towards your bodily functions. That is kriya yoga, and there are many gurus who can teach you how to do it properly. So that is the important aspect of kriya yoga. And in this level, you can also be not only with actual yoga and practices. You can also be simply contemplating mahakala chitta. We all know that we are here for some time. Mahakala means a great time. There is time beyond our human existence. So you just think about it, and your consciousness automatic chitta is your unsullied memory, mind without limits, right? It can expand. You can realize that, oh, there can be so many lives, so many like universes, multiverses, and all those things. So it's kind of expanding your horizon of thought process. So you can do that. You can also do jnana mudras, means the way the posture yourself in certain ways, which will make the energy flow upwards, right? That is called chi, or like in our yogic system, it's called jnana mudras. Like the mudras are the way you posture yourself. Like namaskara is one kind of mudra. Sambhavi mudra. There are so many mudras, so you can do those things to elevate your awareness. So, and as you can see, time. What is time? Is it a real existence? No, it's all made up. Time is till I mind exists. Did you ever think about this? If you sometimes when you're totally involved into something, right, you forget time. You stop counting time. So time exists only when you count. What is space? Space is also non-existent, other than yourself, right? Space is self-permeating, absolutely conscious entity. So if just because you are conscious, it exists. If it doesn't exist by itself. These are all inner aspects are dependent on you, the ultimate reality. So let me zoom back in. So let's go back. So as I said, Adi Shankara propounded Advaita philosophy, right? To get to Advaita is nothing but non-duality, means there is none other than yourself, singularity. How do you experience this? You have to transcend all these things. As I mentioned, aham, mano buddhi ahankara chitta, aham is also called ego, right? It is relative. It is relative in nature. So when you cannot, when you are alone, when you don't have anybody else to talk, it's just you are absolute. But when you're in talking to somebody else, your ego comes to play. It means you're trying to convey something, you need the other. So that is the ego, like an identity. So you need to draw a boundary on what you are trying to say. So so all these things are like manifest as the ego, but you can transcend ego, and there is a way to from jump from here to here is there is no prescribed way. The only hope is one gets to here, continues to do the right things all throughout, and giving up illusions and being aware of greater times, and keeping the aham in yoga nidra, like keep it like keep the system in a boot like sleep state, and keep it ready when to use it whenever required, right? And keep it clean, like mano, like buddhi kriya means using the antivirus kind of thing. So be prepared. This is all for preparation work. What happens if you do suddhi is some people get siddhis. Siddhi means capacity to do things, like they sankalpa siddhi means if they are determined to do something, they can do it, because that's all simple. Like your system is clean, you have the right application loaded, and you know what to do. You align everything, you automatically can achieve anything. So that is the point of that's the point. And there are many great siddhis, like Balaji, Tirupati Balaji Swami Konganavar. He is a great siddha. Well, he finally unitized with God. He's God himself. But as a compassionate person, so for his lot of devotees, he used to perform so many miracles. Like siddhas, people who are siddhi, who are accomplished at this level, can fulfill the needs of others. Basically, each chakra in the ascension is higher than the lower chakra. So people at this chakra can help the people in this chakra. Like, so you get the idea. People at this chakra can help people at this chakra. This one can help. So simply, if you take the example of this, as parents, right? Our kids are basically in the first two chakras. As parents, we are at Artha chakra. We are earning, right? So we can easily satisfy their needs, right? Whatever they are. So we provide for their education, sports, alignment, and all those things. So you get the basic idea. So the higher the elevation, the greater the help the person can do. But also there is some some people have to be mindful, because this is ego is still a division. This is still not unity. So if people go with strong personalities, right, and not once in a while ascend to the full level, and not realize that the ego is also transient and not permanent, they can cause conflicts. That is the problem in the world right now. So all the religions are trying to do good, but there are some, because of certain people who are at a higher level, who are egoistic, think that their way of doing good is the only way, are conflicting with others, and that causes a clash. That is the problem of the ego, not the problem of the God itself. God has nothing to do with any religion or any particular uh, way of thinking or anything like that. Nothing to do with the mind, nothing to do with the body, right? So, but yeah, people have to be mindful of that. My purpose is to unitize, ascend, continue ascension, keep doing all these 6 steps, and it will dawn on you someday that you are that. You are that infinite. You are that nothing. You are that everything. When the ego becomes nothing, you automatically become everything. So ego is like zeroed here, and you become the infinite singularity of universal light. You are only God, Isha. Isha is formless divine, also called Allah. This is a symbol for Allah. Uh, and this is a menorah, the symbol of light, like 7 lights, like the central light. Like there's in a rainbow, right? There are 7 colors, but they're all one. That is the singularity, right? Similarly. And of course, the Om, the omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient Hindu mantra, like the word, which is the most powerful, which in itself describes everything. This one symbol encapsulate everything, all with that we talked about, right? Similarly, Allah encapsulate everything for Islam. Cross of the Jesus Christ encapsulate everything for Christians, meaning only through God, through love of God, you can get to God, right? And Jews, and Nirvana, Buddhism, yeah. So that's how once you get to this level, you are not, you are by yourself, within yourself, like you are joyful. That's your natural state. This is like a 6-month-old baby, right? Just blissful. Like after basic needs are fulfilled, how does a baby feel? Just lie down there and be joyfully in its own world. But as we grow older into the body, our ego takes control and we go through all the lower chakras. But that's why they say there is God in babies, right? Paramatma, Pashupapala Paramatma means in the babies there is divinity. You can find divinity. So what we are trying to do is consciously become like that. Be blissful consciously. That state of being is called samadhi. Samadhi means equal to everything. Adi, like beginning. Sama means equal to equanimity, total equanimity. And this chakra is called Sahasrara. It's like a lotus petal, like 1,000 petals. Means it's like you are expanded from these. Each chakra is described by 3 petals, 8 petals. But this one is described as 1,000 petal lotus. So means your consciousness has blossomed into a full, flower. It's full flower of life, right? So yeah, the unitize. The ultimate goal of anybody being who experiences this is about joyful being, and they realize that how the world is functioning, right? It will become apparent, like why is there conflict? Because of the ego, which is the division, right? It's all not all ego is bad. Ego is good, but it tries to assimilate few people as together and other people as differentiates. That's the problem, right? Good and bad fight happens. But if you know this and you operate at this, there will be no problems with the ego. You can easily manage. So who should be the master? The ego should be the servant. Your true self should be the master of your ego. So you should tell the ego what to accomplish, what to do, what not to do, right? But the world is operated by ego. So this is defining, like with your intellect and ego are driving factors of the world, and that is causing all the friction. So, and also, as you can see, each one is a sphere. When you come across people in different spheres, like you people who are devotees, you have to be respectful. If you're at the lower level than them, you have to pay your respects. Try to learn from them. But if you're higher from them, guide them, provide services to them. If you it's not only about devotees or dhyanis or yogis. I'm just telling at every level there is one level above or one level below, except for the 7th level and 0th level, right? 7th and 0 are the same thing, right? When it's totally enlightened, or 0th level is like unconsciously dead, right? So those two actually, when somebody is unconsciously dead, they are actually united with the God, but they don't know that. That is the only difference. As I said, 0 doesn't have a place on this diagram, but it's nothing but the 7th one. It's like singularity is like black hole, right? It's called a black hole, but I consider it as a light, WHOLE, light hole. For scientific terms, it's a black hole. Like they don't know what happens when somebody goes in there and it doesn't come out. But for the realized one, it is a light, WHOLE, not hole, but a hole. Means it is everything. So that's why it is called singularity happens in a black hole. So soul is in, according to science, it's in the black hole, but according to me, it's a light hole. So yeah, so be mindful of your own ascension. and be helpful to others, heartful about your devotion, and you become soulfully. You'll know this whole diagram by heart, like soulfully knowing. You'll become joyful being. Like, and that will be a natural outcome of all this process. Yeah. So yeah, that will. Having said that, I am open to any questions. If you guys are interested, I hope I put everything that I could say about this diagram. Yeah. So we can stop the recording for now.